No sé si després d'analitzar els partits...
You were talking about how the team, it's taken them a lot of effort to sentence and kill off the games. How do you trying to improve this? Yeah, I think it's more of a mental thing. I think our play has been good. We've been dominating, creating many chances. But in these moments when you're dominating your opponent, that's when you need to kill off the game. We need to be more effective in the 18-yard box. And I insist, we are often very superior over our rivals, but we need to prove that and show that and score more goals. We need to try not to make any mistakes and be more imposing in our chances in front of goal.
Bon dia, Laia Coll de RAC1. Demà tens una baixa sensible per jugar al Metropolitano.
Tomorrow, Robert Lewandowski will be missing in the one al Metropolitano.
Ansu, Memphis i també Ferran. Quin et va convèncer?
Ansu, Memphis and Ferran are available as number 9. Who do you think will play? Yeah, Jordi and Lewandowski are out for this upcoming match. We'll play with 11 players, and the number 9, we'll see who will be. We've got different options. There are players that can adapt to different positions, certain players that play a little bit more deep, or others that play more associative football, and we'll see tomorrow.
Hola Xavi, bon dia. Bon dia. Adrià Albets de la cadena SER. No sé si crees que el de mañana es un partido
que marca exactamente tomorrow will show exactly what level this team is playing at, and if you are truly contenders for the league. Well, I think that's happens every week. Being told this every week by you guys. If this is the game where we can prove this, and I'm sure in 3 weeks I will be asked this once again. And look, it's the next game. It's the most important one because it's the next game. It's 3 points. It won't decide the league, but if we can win in the one al Metropolitano, of course, it'll be a very good statement. It's been 2 years that we haven't won there. It's a difficult stadium, even more difficult opponent. Cholo is a coach who is defensively very sound, if not perfect. It'll be difficult for us, and we need to be more effective than what we have been these last 2 games. It's a game that's very important for us, but not transcendental in terms of who will win the league. What type of Atlético do you expect tomorrow? Cholo is being questioned, his system, already since the season started. They talked about how well they've strengthened the squad. So what do you expect? Well, Cholo's teams are defensively worked very well. They play very direct football. Usually, he uses a 5-3-2 system. He doesn't really vary it that often, or he varies it often recently, so it's difficult to say. They're a bit of a chameleon in that sense, adapting to their rivals. But we are going to prepare ourselves well. It's hard to know what to expect. We know it'll be difficult. They're practically perfect in their defensive line, and it'll be difficult for us, but we need to take advantage of the chances we do get. I wanted to ask you about the winter transfer market that is just open, if you would like any news. No, I told you that I'm happy with the players I have. We spoke with Mateo and Jordi and the president to talk about possible moves we can make, but I'm happy with what I have. I'm happy with the attitude the players have shown. If nothing changes, that's perfect for me, and we will compete.
Hola, mister. ¿Qué tal? Buen día. Buen día. Buena tarde, mejor dicho. Alejandro Segura, en directo para Radio Marca. Hablaba antes de Lewandowski.
You talked about Lewandowski and how you don't have a pure 9. You have Ansu, Memphis, and Ferran.
¿Qué te da Ferran y qué te da Ansu?
What is it that Ansu and Ferran give you? What differences do you see in the two? Oh, Ferran is perhaps more mobile. Ansu is more positional, associative. They are very similar. They create chances for the teammates. Perhaps the people don't see or value that, but we do. Defensively, Ferran is very intense. Ansu, that aspect is different. Both are capable to play in a 9 position as well as Memphis, and tomorrow we'll decide. You talked about the draw. You said you were lucky with the opponent, but perhaps the stadium will be difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult trip, but the calendar is what it is. We're not complaining. I already said that perhaps on paper it looks like we were lucky, but we need to prove that. Would you prefer him not to play tomorrow? No, I want everybody to play. I prefer them, all the best players to play, and in case we win, it means that we should. The other day you played against Intercity when Christian Herrera, he was surprised at how easy Barça were conceding goals.
Estàs d'acord amb aquest diagnòstic? Quan
Are
van
you
maldades, t'agradaria que hi hagués una figura sobre la
in agreement
que fotés un cop de puny sobre la taula?
that perhaps Barça is missing a leader in that aspect? And do you think Araujo could fit that bill? No, I think we have leaders. Sometimes you just need to show more personality. I remember Iniesta wasn't very expressive, but he was a leader. Some express things verbally, and others express things through football means. You have different profiles. Araujo, Busquets, Ter Stegen are more verbal, but Pedri, Ansu show their leadership qualities through.
A l'equip aquest any li hem vist que surt bé en els partits, que es posa per davant, que domina.
The team dominates, plays good football, but we see against Intercity that through an individual error, the team concedes goals. Is that something you can train to avoid those individual errors during games, or is that impossible to control? Well, sometimes it's an individual error, but sometimes it's a team mistake, and it's a domino effect where one makes a mistake or forgets to press, and then it's a chain effect. That's my fault as well. We try to give them all the confidence in the world they need to make sure they don't make any mistakes, but football is a game of errors. And sooner or later, we'll make a mistake, or our opponents will. And we try to make sure that our players are in tip-top shape and don't commit errors. And sometimes it happens, things go your way, and you go through the next round, but other times you see, like Intercity, they made things very difficult for us, but still, I think my team reacted very well. Tomorrow you face an Antoine Griezmann who's in top shape. Played a great World Cup. He's active all over the pitch. How do you evaluate his addition to his side and how he'll play against Barça? I don't know. I don't know what it was like for him when he was here. I know that he's important for Atlético de Madrid. We've analyzed him. He's on the ball a lot. He generates chances and organizes their attack. He's got great passing abilities. He's very important for their team. So we've keeping an eye on him. He's dangerous in the final third for sure.
Buenas tardes, Xavi. Marc Núñez para La Sexta y Antena 3. Quería preguntarte, viendo el casi tropiezo el otro día contra el Intercity,
Casi tropiezo. Esta es buena, ¿eh?
You wanted to ask me about the almost the almost slip up against Intercity. That's an interesting way of characterizing it. Almost slip up. And so the teams that won by 1-0, those are almost slip ups as well, or no? So almost slip up, huh? Okay. You wanted it, right? You were hoping for it. You were hoping we were going to slip up. All right. I wanted to ask if you were going to continue in the Cup. Well, for us, for us it's interesting. The headlines, we avoided the being ridiculed, but others passed to the next round. But we, in our case, we avoided being humiliated. Interesting. No, I wanted to ask you if you were going to continue with rotations, or can we expect a more familiar starting 11? Well, we'll see against Ceuta. There's still a few games that are left to play. We're not thinking about next week, Thursday. We want to see how the game impacts the team tomorrow, possible injuries, etc. We have to go step by step. The game by game, the Cholo's expression, well, this applies for us too. I wanted to ask you about Qatar, the World Cup, and Ronald Araujo, his moment with Uruguay, the agreement you had with Alonso, the coach of Uruguay, the conversation that you had with him around the 7th of November, where he said, or you said, he wasn't ready to play the World Cup. Is that something that you agreed in that moment? Because afterwards a lot of things were said in Qatar that perhaps he could have played. To close this topic, what role will he have within your team? And how important is he? Yeah, of course, he's super important for us. He's an excellent defender who gives us leadership qualities, gives us that extra speed when we need it. He's a central defender that corrects many mistakes as we play with a high line. And he's so good in that. And our conversations with the Uruguay coach were very fluid, very clear. And we said we would wait and see the sensations of the player himself. In the end, it was Ronald's decision if he would play or not. The most important thing is that now he's 100% recovered from his injury. We saw him play very well in the last game without any nagging pain. So, but yeah, I spoke with the coach very fluidly without any problems.
Hola Xavi, buenos días, soy Basel de Bien. Xavi, ¿te gusta la medida que hemos visto en el Mundial con el tiempo añadido que ha sido las medidas? Con el tiempo de descuento que llegó a 10 y 12.
Did you like what we saw in the World Cup, the added extra time? Or would you prefer the watch to stop playing? Yeah, you know that. I've said that many times. I prefer that for the clock to stop, because that way you would stop people or players faking injuries and trying to stretch the time out. But unfortunately, I don't decide the rules and the laws of the game. But I would prefer that, yes.
Hola, bona tarda. Joan Poquí, del Mundo Deportivo, què tal? Vostè ha dit diverses vegades, és molt clar que vostè vol que Carles Busquets segueixi un any, si pot ser el Sergio, i si no ho sap, en quin termini li agradaria que decidís?
Like I said the other day, it depends on sensations and our ability to sign players and the fair play situation. Sergio is a very important player for us. He's the captain, and it depends on him. It's a personal decision, but it's of course attached as well to his productivity. And in June we'll have another conversation. We said that the team sometimes lacks in aggressiveness in both sides of the field.
amb el que és la personalitat dels futbolistes, amb l'agressivitat, amb la mala llet. Això com s'arregla? Com ho pot arreglar l'entrenador?
How do you are capable of changing that as a coach? Yeah, against Espanyol, being defensively sound in the game against Intercity, but we conceded 3 goals. We need to be more aggressive, and we can't concede 6 goals. If you look at the last games that we played, we're conceding too many goals. The other day, we had several players that played a lot of minutes. Now the Super Cup is also coming up, La Liga. How does that change your planning? No, it doesn't change much. We've had 4 days to rest. Tomorrow we play at 9. We had time to disconnect. It doesn't condition the starting 11 that I'm going to put out, which I have pretty clear.
Hola, Xavi. Aquí el Bernal del diari Ara. Una mica roda de les preguntes de Busquets. En el retorn a la competició a la Lliga vas apostar...
To ask you about Busquets, you want to put Frenkie in that position. In the Cup we saw you put Busquets there. What can we expect tomorrow? Could De Jong play in that position again tomorrow? We'll see tomorrow. Both players are important for me. They can also play together. We'll see. So both players are important for the team. They don't lose the ball. They give the team more energy. They're smart. They have a high IQ. So we'll see tomorrow.
M'agradaria saber si demà contra l'Atlético, davant d'una defensa tan tancada que no pressiona tan
against Atlético with a very close defense, will you choose more defenders that are better on the ball or more physically imposing? Well, you're asking me about my starting 11 tomorrow, so I can't really say too much about this topic because the players don't even know. So we'll see tomorrow. And if bringing the ball up will become difficult, if we need aerial abilities, we've got various options. They'll depend on a moment of the game.
Hola Xavi, buena tarde. Nacho Jiménez de Más que Pelotas. Después de ver el partido que hizo el otro día Pablo Torre, ¿tienen la sensación?
After Pablo Torres' good game against Intercity, does he have a chance to have more minutes with the first team? Could he be rotated more? For sure, yeah. I've probably been not very just to many players. I try to be fair with all the players and give them minutes, but it's difficult. It's normal that some players feel that they are not being fairly treated, and Pablo's been great. He plays really well between the lines and set pieces. He's excellent. He has a great passing abilities, great crossing. It's going to be important for us. He'll surely go from more to less. For less to more, sorry. Héctor Bellerín is finishing his contract at the end of the season. He hasn't played that many minutes yet. Do you think he'll continue with the club? I don't know. It depends. In his final 6 months left on his contract, talk a lot with his players. He understands the game of football, and he's a guarantee in the back.
Et volia preguntar per com estàs veient a Alejandro Balde, el seu rol...
How do you see Alejandro Balde and what he gives to the team? Do you count on him? Yeah, he's going to be an important player. He'll play a lot. We've got many players. We have 24 players in the squad, but Balde will be important. You already know. We're going to give him continuity. Many times he's been in the starting 11, and he'll continue to be.
Buenas tardes para Iniestazo. Volviendo al partido del otro día, volvió a sorprender esta diferencia entre el equipo a nivel defensivo en Liga, donde es el equipo menos goleado de la competición.
It was impressive to see the difference of this team in the knockout competitions as opposed to Liga defensively, where in the defense is the team with the least goals conceded. How do you make that difference? It's what I talked about before. Sometimes it's easier for us to score very often. Could he play further out on the wing tomorrow?